Bro, why she come in my room? Watch. Just watch. I knew that was funny. I knew that was gonna happen. I was getting ready to start a video, and then my son's gonna just walk in my room and not knock on the door. And we were practicing knocking on the door because knocking on the door is respecting the space and the grounds around of the household. So, um, it's a lot of little things that's going on right now. It's so funny. I'm all over the place, but I can't get it out. So, I'm teaching my kindergartners about rules and how to understand rules and respect rules and understand why rules are important, why rules help us to thrive, grow, evolve, and change. Right? Okay. I'm learning in that area. Okay, I'm going to get into that. And then I am recognizing where I am in my path and my journey in terms of understanding, like, yo, it's so many levels of this shit. Okay, so while I was looking in the mirror, you gotta look in the mirror at yourself. So I'm probably gonna make separate videos of these things. But when I was looking in the mirror to really truly honestly identify yourself, number one. So let me just pause this for a second. Okay, this match is called looking in the mirror, and I was getting ready to record, and then I stopped and I paused because I was interrupted. So that's a sign right there that you have to be mindful of the distractions. Understand and recognize that the distraction is not necessarily a distraction. So hold that as key. Second, being intentional about your decisions and your choices. That's something I want to take on to you. And then looking in the mirror. And when you look in the mirror, what do you see? And so I was having this conversation with a very dear friend of mine. Very, very dear friend of mine. Like, I'm not gonna get into the depths, but like the conversation is always mad deep when I talk to y'all. Like the vibe is always chill, and it's like it's really good to talk to somebody that's like kind of there where you are, like kind of vibes where you vibe, or kind of gets you crazy or gets to understand your being or whatever it gets to be. So anyway, I digress. The conversation was about one of the essence of the conversation was about looking in the mirror, and I wanted to record a portion of this conversation because I understand how helpful this information can be, especially if the person that this message reaches is listening. So we were conversing about different little things, catching up, kicking the bobo, whatever the case may be. And the conversation of like looking into the mirror and understanding yourself came up. And so I broke it down in such a way that I myself hadn't heard myself say no shit like that before, but it's kind of in essence how I actually live. And so how I have been living. Because I'm a very, very reflective person. And so mirrors are reflections of self. And people have conversations and say, "Oh, a mirror is a portal. A mirror is a portal. It's a dimension of realm. It is a dimension of realm. It's a dimension to the realm of yourself. How you see yourself. What eyes are you looking at yourself through? What lens are you looking at yourself through? Are you truly looking into yourself and truly looking at you?" So, like, we were having a conversation about looking in the mirror, and we were having a conversation about understanding yourself and understanding, like, why it's important to understand, who you are when you're looking in the mirror. What are you actually looking for? And the best way to say it is, when you know, because you really instantly make eye contact. You connect with your soul, the true essence of your inner being, the light within your eye, your true soul. And you have to practice, because I said this before in one of my I guess videos. I'm gonna say videos because I was gonna say rants because I don't rant. I do rant sometimes, but I digress. Anyway, you have to be confident and respectful to accept what you see, and that is not always easy because a lot of us like to have on what I would say are rose-colored glasses or mask or deceptions of self, because we say, oh, we code switching, or we we vibing to fit in, or that's my girl, so when I go over there, that's how I get down, and when I'm over here, that's how I get down over here. Like, nah, those are masks. Those are deceptions of self. Excuse me. Those are reflections of self. reflections of the deception of projections of yourself. And I'm going to say it again. Reflections of the deceptions of reflections of yourself. Your projection, what you are projecting about yourself, how you are seeing yourself, what projection of yourself are you putting out into the world? And your projection is your thoughts or how you see yourself, your vision and view of how you perceive and know yourself to be. And that's how you show up. So when you show up in a certain environment and you're really not in tune with you and you're not your authentic self, most times you're easily swayed to do things that really don't resonate or connect with who you really feel like you truly honestly are. And so it's like you want to fit in, and at the same time you want to stand out. However, at the same time, you don't want to fit in so much that you blend into the crowd. However, at the same time, you don't want to stand out so much that you're an eyesore either. And what I'm learning is be the fucking eyesore. Like real talk. Be the eyesore sometimes, because sometimes when you become the eyesore, you realize and you recognize and you see that there are other eyesores out there that are like you. Either they're going to be the same or they're going to be on the same vibrational frequency. You're going to vibe. Like they say, you like attracts like, and your tribe attracts tribe. And you know, when you start really like feeling your energy and getting into yourself and really like, walking your own path and staying, determined, focused, and organized and disciplined. Because baby, when I tell you I'm practicing discipline right now, and it is not easy. I am hard-headed. I am stubborn. I'm dealing with myself and I'm working with myself. I'm like, look, chick, you really blowing me. Like, why do you keep doing this? Like, working on the impulses of my nature that I have inherited and that I have absorbed and that I have learned from other people, other beings, and watching how they vibe and how they move and how they grow, because mirrors, people are reflections of you. And so sometimes you see a glimpse of yourself in that person and you like it and you're attracted to it and you're drawn to it and you find yourself moving in that direction. You're being pivoted to go that way. Yet you know that sometimes that ain't where I really at. Like, why would you hang out with alcoholics if you're not an alcoholic? Why would you hang out with pieheads if you're not a piehead? Why would you hang out with anybody on drugs if you're not a drug addict? There are reasons why you go into these environments. And what the point I'm trying to make is, when you go into the environments, you should be so secure within yourself that you know when and where and how to cut yourself off, your own boundaries. Because there's no judgment on the people or individuals or beings that do these things. Like, who among us have no vices? None. We all have a vice. We all have a habitual thing that we cling to that is a reflection of something that we either have or lack inside. And so when you start to understand that, you start to respect the space. You're like, wow, you got your thing over there. You do your thing. That's not my thing. I don't got to get involved in it. I don't got to be a part of it. And there's no judgment to you over there in no way, shape, form, or fashion. None at all. None whatsoever. So with that being said, I'm still cool with you. I rock with you. I just won't come over your house. Or I just won't, hang out with you at this party. Like, I'll go to a different place where I really feel like the vibe is going to be more my speed or more my tune. You know what I'm saying? And there's no disrespect. When it's time for us to come together and connect and vibe, we're going to have a connect and vibe genuinely, because that's just how I move. I'm a naturally genuine person. So when I do stuff, I do it from the genuineness and the purity of my heart. And I chose to blind myself to that, because it was like, yo, like, people make you feel bad because you really genuine all that, like that nice or that kind of a person. Now, yeah, sometimes they can go to your head because you're like, oh, I'm doing this, I do this, I do. That's not really genuinely doing something. Like, genuinely doing something is doing it from the purity of your heart. Like, just because you would want somebody to do some shit like that for you. Like, you really genuinely care about the well-being and care of that person, that livelihood of that person, that being. You care about their journey. You care about their path. You care about their life, the essence of them, their energy. You care if they thrive or not. That's genuine, sure enough, true compassion and love. To have more, or not, I'm not going to say more, but to have the same level of love for another person that you have for yourself. Like, the same spatial awareness and care that you would give to yourself, you're going to give to somebody else. Because that's just genuinely how I am. And that's what you should do. Because it always comes back to you tenfold. what you give is what you get. That is a true statement. Meaning, whatever actions, whatever behavior, whatever mannerisms, whatever words, whatever thoughts, whatever energy you project in that direction, in that manner, that attitude, that energy, that emotion that you have it in at the time that you are projecting, that is what you are boomeranging back to yourself. So I would rather boomerang some good energy and get good energy back than to boomerang some negativity or negative energy and get that back tenfold. Like, make it make sense. As true manifestors, as human beings, we are truly, honestly, magicians. We are manifestors. We produce into society what it is we want ourselves to see. The thing is, you have to visualize it. You have to see it. You have to picture it in your mind. You have to be willing to know where you want to go. Be so focused and so driven to get to that vantage point, that viewpoint in your life, that nothing deters you or distracts you. Now, that brings me to a second point that I wanted to hit on. Distractions. Distractions are key in this lesson because mirrors. Distractions are key because distractions are things that happen necessarily, that are allowed to happen to you to get you to slow down. Distractions come to teach you to pay attention, meaning you are not focused on your task at hand. Meaning you're out of sorts, you're out of alignment, right? Now, the distraction is also a lesson because the distraction is sent to teach you to stay on task, to stay focused. Like, no matter what's going on, what are you supposed to be focused on at this time? What's more important? Where should you be diverting your energy? Okay, and what is the distraction that is coming into play? And why is that distraction important? What is that distraction teaching me? Like right now, my son is being a distraction because he's knocking on the door. Hold it. Yeah, Cairo. Okay, go clean up your room. And give me like 10 or 15 minutes. I'll be finished in like 10 or 15 minutes. Okay? That was part of the deal anyway. You say you're going to clean your room and you still got to make your bed. So, and he made, wait, okay, that goes on. It is what it is. That's my baby though. Like, distractions come to teach you to have patience, to teach you where your boundary or your protection is not necessarily at its strongest, to teach you a life lesson or life skill, like in essence me dealing with my son just now, because my son triggers me, real shit. Like, I understand and know that he's there, and I love my son with everything in me. However, there are times when my son comes and I'll just be wanting to be left alone. Like, I just need some space. And I realize he needs connection. So when I need space, he needs connection. And that's teaching me to make the connection and respect the space on both sides. So granted, he came to my room, but what I didn't do was open the door. So that's me holding my space for me. However, I did answer him and I responded to him. So that's me also connecting and holding space for him. Now, I'm also working on discipline because my son be trying to play me, like, real talk. All these kids are trying to play me. They trying to get me, bro. They be really trying to get me, bro. But I digress. That's funny too, because like my students be playing with me like that too. They be really working on my patience, like, bro. That is another thing. That, because when I work with my students, that is just like everything, yo. When I work with my students, right? When I say they really try my patience. They really try my patience. They really take me to places that I feel like are unforeseen when it comes to my energy. Like, they are really, truly, honestly teaching me patience in the sense of breathe. It's more of them than it is of me. Therefore, I am splitting myself amongst the group of them. And this is a new group of kids. Like, The energy in these new kids is different, baby. These 2025 kids. I don't know what generation is what. This is what 2000 what and I they what 2000 what, 15, 16 kids, like 14, 15, maybe 16 kids, bro. What do you call them? COVID babies. I think they are COVID babies, like babies that were conceived during COVID. Cause what the what? Bro, these kids they're comical, but they different, bro. When I say they touch your patients, they touch your patients. And I know I feel like I'm rambling and it might feel like I'm stretching this out, but I'm really, really not because this is imperative. It's important. My students are teaching me to slow down and breathe. They're teaching me to control my own personal energy. And it's in the realm of frustration, agitation, irritation, and annoyance. Because I'm like always irritated and annoyed, which is weird because like I'm a teacher, but I have mad patience for my kids. There's certain things I don't have patience for, and my students know. And I tell my students it's funny because I'm like, do you want me to blow my top? Do you want to be irritated and yell and scream, or do you want me to be cool, calm, and collected? And they're like, we want you to be cool, calm, and collected. Okay, cool beans. So I broke it down to them in the aspect of the space of an egg. We read a story, and the story is about it was I believe the book was called The Good Egg. I can't remember the author at the top of my head, but I believe the book was called The Good Egg. And in essence, it was an egg. It was about a story of an egg, and he lived in an egg carton with his siblings or his roommates or whatever the case may be. And his roommates and his siblings or whatever were always getting into stuff and doing things and breaking things and just tearing things up. And he, as the good egg, was always coming around to fix and repair whatever they destroyed, whatever they messed up. They were always coming to. He was always coming to fix the problem or solve the problem for his siblings. And so he had did that so much that he became so frustrated and stressed that he began to build pressure on the inside to the point where as though he felt like he was going to crack. And in essence, he actually started to crack. He started to break up. Physically, it started to show up on the outside. Now, a lot of us, we break up and we crack up on the inside and we hold it together and we don't let it show. However, there are moments where it starts to actually show and we don't even realize it's showing. And it shows up in our patience, the ability to be still and calm and wait, the ability to seriously conscientiously wait, and to be able to process and breathe and think through a problem or through a situation, no matter how frustrated or pulled or driven you may be. Now, like I said, I work with 20 some odd kids at a time, and this particular group, they're just so eclectic. It's just mad cool because they're so different in their own little ways, and they have their little mannerisms and things about them. But the way that they express themselves is just it's so cool. Like their conversations just be like, okay, bro, I feel where you come from, and just their understanding and their perspective of things. Yet, in the midst of having this conversation and perspective of things, these children are truly impatient, and they have this. I'm not going to say audacity because it's not audacity. It is a level of expectation where it's instantaneous. They have this level of instant gratification, like it needs to be done right here, right now, in this moment, and it develops this level of impatience or impatientness that they exude, where they want you to stop everything you're doing and just respond and cater to them. And it's just like, bro, wait a minute, like hold on, respect the space. Like understand, I am one person. I'm not an octopus. like, like I'm not an octopus. Although I jump around and move like an octopus, I'm not an octopus. But I need you to understand, we can flow, we can vibe, but we have to flow in unison and sync. And so I bring this up because I talk about mirrors and I'm talking about reflection. People that you work with, be it a child, an elderly, a being, whatever, like animals, even the things that you work with, like your computer work, your schoolwork, the things that work with, you have to be intentional about it. Meaning you have to pour the energy into it and really plan it out and process it out how you really want it to be and move accordingly. It is imperative to plan because when you don't plan, you fail to succeed. Planning is putting steps in place or goals in place to help you, move through the process of accomplishing where it is or seeking the destination in which you're actually trying to go. And so I I am a very impatient person. And most people are like, no, you're not. Like, you're not. You're very patient. I am very impatient with certain things. And I'm working on establishing not being impatient with the things that I am impatient with. And patient, and well, to continue the level of patience that I have for the things I do have patience for. And that's because I have patience for a lot of things, and I tolerate a lot of things, and I can endure a lot of things. However, certain things I lack patience for now. It's just like, no, I'm not accepting that. Those areas where I'm not accepting certain things, that's where I put my boundary in place. Like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. You're not going to treat me in any kind of way. I'm not going to treat you in any kind of way. When it comes to like my self care, my self being, and my self awareness, and like my personal like well being, yeah, I have no patience for you. You're not going to play with me. You're not going to play with my time or my energy. You're not going to play with my love. You're not going to play with my thoughts. You're not going to play with my mind. You're not going to play with me, period. Like, no. I respect you. You respect me. I treat you the way that, you know, I want to be treated. And if I feel like you're not treating me or respecting me in that regard, I remove myself from you or remove you from my life. Point blank, period. And it's not to be detrimental to you. It's to be respectful to the space, because I have not fully mastered how to not want to be aggressive. I'm trying to find a nice way to say I don't want to beat your ass, because like I don't want to be that. I don't like to blow my top. I feel like you should always be in control of your feelings and emotions. You should never allow anything to control you to the point where you blow your top, where you start yelling, screaming, shouting, and just going off, like at all. When you get to that point, you have reached like overload. You're overloaded. You're overstimulated. You need to sit the fuck down. You need to be still. You need to be by yourself. Because no one or nothing should ever take you to the point where you're yelling, screaming, or shouting at all. Ever. And I know I'm saying it, and it's like, bitch, what you talking about? Like, what do you mean? Like, because people yell, scream, and shout. Yeah. I'm not saying that you should never get mad or get angry or like get upset about logical, realistic things to get upset about. What I'm saying is that you shouldn't be blown up about little things. Children talking and playing in class and having a good time, we as educators should not be upset about that. That's what they are there to do. Well, it depends on the grade band. Depending on the grade band. Real talk. But like, and also even like in reason, like give the children space, because socially, developmentally, like children need to socialize and talk to one another. And lunchtime and recess is not the only time they should be able to talk to each other. They should have a conversation with each other in class too, respectfully. And I know that most educators be like, no, when I'm teaching, I need to be quiet. And when they're doing the work, they need to be focusing on their work. Yeah, I get that too. But some kids do need to talk to get their work done. They just need to be able to have a way or a space to express themselves. So even if it's like small group time or like during small group time, conversational tone should be allowed. They should be able to talk about random goofy stuff that they want to talk about during small group time. Like as long as they're within a conversational tone and not too loud. You get what I'm saying? Like that's the time where they should be able to talk. Now, if the talking irritates you, turn on some music and tell them like, look, you should be talking at the level of the music. If the music is loud, they're going to talk loud. If the music is low in conversational tone, they're going to talk low in conversational tone. If you're louder than the music, then you're demerit. And if I have to say something to you, then you can't talk at all. I'm taking away your privilege to talk. I'm going to just sit you by yourself. It's little things to fix the stuff that happens. Now, granted, I'm saying this in terms of working with children because, I am an educator. Okay, fine. However, it applies to that of adults too. And it applies all the way across all facets of life if you really open your mind and think about it. When you are communicating with individuals or beings around you or people around you, they are a reflection of the patience and the tolerance and the level in which you have for yourself. People reflect back to you what you give out. Now, not all things that come to you or that are reflected back to you are actually a reflection of you at times too. So you got to be careful with that, because it's like having a double-sided mirror, a double-edged mirror, a double-edged sword. Like just like you're looking out and you're seeing the reflection of people around you or your reflection of yourself, what they see in you, they are looking back and seeing reflected back to them the version of themselves they are too. Now, I'm going to try to say this again. Trying is a family word. I nix that. I'm going to say this again in a manner in which I hope and pray that is understood. Just because you are projecting the image that you are projecting, that is what people are perceiving of you. However, it does not negate what they see in you. Now, take that because that's heavy. What you project is how you feel about yourself. What is reflected is not always the same. Most times when we see our reflection of ourselves and other people, we see our areas of ourselves where we are lacking, where we want to be better. And when people are looking at us, they are in essence seeing the same, the areas where they want to be better. And you yourself being who you are is a reflection of that, in the sense that they see in you and they see what you present, how you show up, whether you are cognizant or aware of it or not. How you show up, like you might be a really confident, proud person, yet you could be humble and not like, be boastful or gaudy. I was gonna say gaudy. Gaudy, right? You can be respectful and just be silent. You could be mild-mannered. You could be very proper. You could be, it's so many different ways you can be, how you can present yourself, how you carry yourself, your manners and your behaviors. However, what is truly on the inside is seen also through your body movements, your speech, your behavior, your energy, your attitude, your demeanor. Like, how you show up is how people see you. So it's best to always show up authentically. And like, even if you had a problem with a person, that is felt by other people in the room, and it may even be felt by the person that it is directed towards. And so when you understand and recognize that you are a mirror, you also gotta understand, like, if you feel some kind of way, that person know that you feel some kind of way. They feel that shit just as much as you feel what they throwing at you. It goes both ways. So it's like, okay, how am I going to show up? How am I going to present myself? And see, me, I'm working on my patience because and I'm working on my trust. And I'm working on, values and belief systems and just my mannerisms and my words and things of that nature. I'm really working on myself, my behaviors, right? I'm learning the areas of my life where I'm not disciplined and I'm correcting it. Where I allowed myself to become lax or too relaxed and not showing up how I know I'm supposed to show up. Not just for me, real talk, right? Not for just, I was gonna say not for just for other people, but for me. And so this is important because how are you showing up for you? What is your reflection of yourself that you are perceiving? Like, take the time to really look at yourself on the inside. And so I know I jumped all over the place with this message and I rambled a little bit and I got back on track, but all of it makes perfect sense. It all comes full circle. My messages always come full circle because, yeah, you have to be intentional with your actions and your behavior. You have to be intentional with your decisions. You have to be intentional with your thoughts. You have to be intentional with your words. You have to be intentional with your actions. And it was funny because we was tripping in the car. And he was like, man, that's too much fucking work. And I'm like, facts. I feel that shit. Because it do be like, yo, what the fuck am I doing all that? But realistically, though, like real talk, that's how you should always be. Intentional with everything about you. Like, you should not be doing anything in your life without intention. Period. Point blank. Period. Everything you do should be done with intention. It should never just be done just because or out of like lack. Ever. It shouldn't be done out of desires or wants or needs. It should be done with intention of purity, of essence of self. This task that I am completing, I'm completing with the intention of prosperity, peace, love, completion, wholeness, oneness, purpose. I'm completing this task with purpose, with intentional purpose, with reasoning, with a direct cause. And I actually have the evidence to show proof of the reason why this completion of this task needs to be done. Like everything you do should be done with the intention of a prospected outcome. Prospected outcome. I said perspective, but it is perspective and perspective. Prospective. Levels to it. It should be done with a specific outcome, the outcome that you are seeking, okay? And if it doesn't necessarily reach the outcome, it doesn't mean that that's a bad thing either. That is a lesson in itself. And you need to take the time to be the mirror to yourself and reflect back to yourself and understand and know where you need to grow, evolve, and change, or where you're falling short, or how you're showing up. People show up in your life a certain way because they are showing up to teach you something about yourself, and you are showing up to teach them something about them. And so I was saying earlier about like you have to learn how to understand and know that when you're moving through life and you're, going on your journey, that you have to be intentional, because how you show up affects not just your own growth, because you are a reflection of yourself. It affects the growth of those around you. It's like throwing bad seed mixed in with good seed and expecting an extremely wonderful harvest, when that's in essence not necessarily true. Because most times the bad kind of always outweighs the good. The dark always kind of seems to outweigh the light. Now, granted, people are like, that don't make sense, but it does in a sense, but it shouldn't. The light and the dark should always be balanced. One should not outweigh or outdo the other in no way, shape, form, or fashion. It should always be balanced, like yin and yang. As above, so below, as within, so without. It should always be balanced. So if your light is too bright, I'm not saying dim your light by no means. Do not dim your fucking light. Be so bright that you burn the fucking bitches that are around you. Like, Lord, forgive me for saying it like that. Because I said stay out to be the eyesore, and I didn't mean that. However, at the same time, your darkness should be just as deep or just as profound as your light. So if your light is that bright, your darkness should be that dark or that deep. You should always be able to find the way in your darkness. You should always be able to find the way in your trials and tribulations, in your circumstances, in your situations. There's always a window, a door, a crack, a crevice, a creep, whatever. I said a creep. Real talk though. There's always something that is there that's going to be around you. However, there's always an out. You have to do the work and look for it. And you have to seek it in a high vibration, in a high realm, or in a higher energy, meaning exuding patience. Because he's sitting here tapping on my door. Hold on. I'm sorry, I had to pause because my son just came and he knocked on the door. And I know I was talking about a lot of different things and I'm jumping all over the place in this message. I feel like I'm all over the place. Lord forgive me. But distractions are not necessarily a bad thing. And I know that might not be what I ended on, but that's what I'm picking up. Distractions are not always a bad thing. Distractions help you to slow down in the process of what you're going through, because distractions show up to show you where you're not paying attention to self or the things that are important to you. And so I know that I say you have to live with intention and be intentional about your actions and behaviors. However, there are times where we're moving through life and life is just happening. There's so many things that's going on, and you're just, you're just living. You're in like survival mode, and it's difficult to kind of get out of a transition out of survival mode, especially if you've been in it for so long. You have to find a place of peace within yourself. You have to find a place of understanding within yourself. You have to become intentional. The more intentional and more organized and more structured you become with yourself, the more respectful you become with yourself, your attitude, your environment. The more intentional you become with your space and picking up and cleaning up behind yourself, the more disciplined and obedient you become, the more the doors open for you. The more opportunities you are awarded, the more successes you have. And it's difficult when you're starting to make the change because the old version of yourself is just like, it's lazy, you don't want to do it. That old part of you, that old attitude or demeanor, behaviors is like, wait, why are you changing? That's the old ego. It has to die. That old version of you has to be released and let go. Not to say that, that part of you was bad. No, that part of you taught you something about yourself too. However, it's time to transition and move on. If you want better, you have to do better, which means you have to let go of the old ways, the old manners, the old behaviors, the old thought processes, the old energy. You have to move with intention. You have to be obedient. You have to trust. You have to have faith. You have be you have to find your motivation. You have to be active and you have to be consistent and responsible and respectful of yourself, your time, your energy, and your space. And I'm learning to do that. And it is not easy. When I say I'm being tested every freaking day, bro. Every freaking day, bro. To the point where I come home and I'm just like, yo, I'm going to sleep. I don't care what I gotta do. I know I gotta do a whole bunch of shit, but I'm going to sleep, bro. This is what? I signed up for this? And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I know that I can do it. I know that I am capable of doing it and completing it. I am well aware that it is possible and it is within my reach or my grasp. I know these things. And in knowing these things, I have to give my time to my physical self time to make the adjustment, my mental self to make the adjustment, my carnal self, my 3D realm, whatever. I have to give the part of myself that needs time to make the adjustment, that time to make the adjustment. However, I also have to give it a deadline. I have to stick to it. I have to be consistent. And we as human beings and people who are walking this journey called life, we have to be consistent and intentional and patient in our process. Understanding and knowing that, yes, the mirrors are all around us and we see ourselves in different things. However, give yourself grace to move how you need to move to get to where you're attempting to go, to serve your purpose, right? And I know I feel like I jumped all over the place in this message, but I feel like I hit on everything that I wanted to hit on. And I was actually taking notes, and I thought about making separate videos for all the things that I was taking notes on, and I still may do it. But I did write down looking in the mirror. The importance of looking in the mirror is to see yourself, to have to make connection to what you see in your eyes. It is the vision, the character, the behavior, the mannerisms, the aligned part of you, not just on one facade, but really truly aligned version of you. I wrote, recognize the beauty, recognize your flow, recognize your flaws as hidden attributes, because sometimes we have things about ourselves that we dislike, that we don't care for, or things about ourselves that people might not like or like not care for, and we take it as a flaw, as if something is wrong with us, but in essence you're imperfectly created, because there's no such thing as perfection besides the perfection in which he created. So, and you are his creation, so you are perfectly imperfect in your perfectionness and your perfectedness. I love that. Yes, in his room. What else did I write? Patient. Do you have it? And if you do, where do you have it? And why do you have it there? And how do you know that it's there? Like, what evidence do you have to show for you having it there? Where recognize your growths, recognize if you don't have growths and what you can do and need to do to put the growth in perspective or place. What else did I write? Oh, and I I wanted to end with this quote that he gave me because, like, bro, when I say I'm getting ready to live my life, that is just insane. Um, if you patiently endure, you will come out victorious. And when I say that shit was like a light bulb to my soul, I was like, I need to fucking hear that. like, like what? Because it's like when I say I am an extremely patient person, I am impatient with myself. However, I am extremely patient with others. Like, people do the most obscene, insane stuff, and I just be like, okay, like, I have patience for other people. I hold space for them because I want them to hold space for me. Like, what the fuck? When I'm going through something crazy, I need you to be right there and be like, look, chill, just chill. It's like, I got you. Like, be grounded. Yeah. When it comes to me doing that for myself, I'm like, I'll be going off. Why did you do that? What is wrong with you? Come on, sis, get your brain together. Like, I'll be going off on myself, and then it's like, yo, can it just hurry up and come on? Like, why do I have to wait for this? Why can't I just have this right here, right now? Like, I deserve this. I earned this. I did the work to be able to have this and say it's mine and my own. And it's like, okay, yeah, you did. But God works on his time, not yours. The universe works on in its own time, not in your time or your expectancy. Like when you think it should happen. Like, what the fuck? What? Sis, hold on, pause, pump the brakes, slow down, stop. You know. Things happen for you when they are supposed to happen for you. When you have grasped the message, when you have learned the lesson. Oh, and it was something else that he said to me too. Because I jumped on that too because I was talking about it. I was like, your ending is actually your beginning. And that's deep too. And that may be another message, but your ending is actually your beginning. And I'm gonna end it right there because I want to make that a separate video. But that is important. Your ending is actually your beginning. And with that I say, peace of shit, I'm gonna say.